Good morning, everyone. Why am I delayed? This is really weird. Um, how strange. It could be because I'm running the fan. Let me turn the fan off and see if that takes care of things. Okay, so good morning, everyone. I am looking at myself on the screen and I'm running with a little bit of delay. If my words and my image are not in sync, please let me know. I'll try not to let this distract me. Back to the beginning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee and Headlines. This is our morning get together live here on Facebook where we examine news and we examine headlines from our city, our state, our country. We take a look at your comments, your ideas, your suggestions, and we try to combine all this knowledge to have a more connected life here in Puerto Vallarta as a community of English-speaking locals. Today is June 13th, and it is a pleasure to see you. Oh, I see Karen says that I am delayed. Karen, I don't know why I am delayed, honestly. I could stop the broadcast and start it again, but somehow I don't know that that is the best thing to do. If you want me to stop the broadcast and start it again, I'll be happy to do that. I always am concerned that when I do that, we lose some viewers. So if you give me some pointers on how you'd like us to proceed, I would appreciate it. In the meantime, it is a pleasure to get together with you. And as always, we encourage everyone and anyone that is new to the broadcast to let us know that you are new by writing the word new in your comment. We'll be so very happy to give you a little bit of a welcome. And if there's something truly important that you wish to share with us, please do so by adding a capital letter Q at the beginning of your comment. Today, we started with a little bit of housekeeping. I think it was Saturday. Oh, I am good now. I think I am. Yay, I am good. Anyhow, it was Saturday or maybe Friday that somebody mentioned that the ability to rewind the broadcast while watching live was compromised. So I did some research and I learned something new this weekend. I learned that the ability for you to be able to rewind the broadcast, I need to configure every time I start a new broadcast. So it's not one of those default settings. And since it is something else for me to worry about on a daily basis, I have just deployed a quick poll question. Is the ability to rewind the broadcast while you are watching live important to you? Yes or no? If the majority says that it is important, I'll be glad to add this to my task list on every morning. And if you say that it is not, then that'll be fine too. Today, as always, we have all kinds of news. We have sobering news that have to do with monkeypox and COVID, but we also have some fun news to share during the broadcast. So let us get started. Okay, let's start with the COVID-19 pandemic. We know it is still here in Puerto Vallarta, but how bad is it? On the one hand, we have the business as usual, but be careful message we keep getting from Governor Alfaro. But on the other hand, we have increasing reports of local outbreaks. First, there was a city hall outbreak, and so City Hall decided to enforce face masks again in all local government buildings. Then we learned that the Guadalajara University was bringing back face masks, although I never learned or I didn't read that this also included the local campus. But now we learn that three local schools are also reporting outbreaks, and the local positivity rate, that is the percentage of COVID tests that come back positive, is increasing again. So while Governor Alfaro and the state's health board have not made any recent announcements, it is extremely important, I think, that we all continue to follow the guidelines we know. What are those guidelines? Well, this article includes a very complete list. This is from Mexico's Social Security Institute, or IMSS. And since we've been repeating the guidelines constantly, we do not need to go over them unless, of course, you write the word guideline in a comment, in which case I'll gladly go over them again. Why is COVID coming back? Well, probably because we are relaxing our use or implementation of these guidelines. Last week, we mentioned that local health authorities set up a COVID testing site at Parque Hidalgo, and according to Jaime Alvarez Sayas, who oversees our sanitary region, between 20 and 30 people tested positive during the days in which the testing site was available to the population. And this was 20 or 30 people out of an average of about 80 people per day that attended, that took the test at this testing site. Apparently, the cases are milder now that a larger percentage of the population has been vaccinated, but COVID is still spreading and putting a damper in our lives. Case in point, I attended a double birthday celebration this weekend, out of which two of my dear friends were not able to attend because one of them tested positive for COVID. So it's one of those things in which, if you test positive for the cold, you don't miss out on parties. I mean, although common sense dictates that you stay home, but, COVID is definitely putting a damper in our lives, whether we like it or not. So kindly follow the guidelines. Now, let's turn our attention to the monkeypox situation here in Puerto Vallarta. There are now 2 cases being monitored, both of which had contact with a man from Texas that brought the disease to Puerto Vallarta. One is a local man from Canada who began with symptoms on the 7th of this month and is presently in isolation. And the other one is a woman from Zapopan. As a result of the announcements made last week by local health authorities, there are now 18 people under observation for monkeypox due to symptoms, 10 of which attended parties at Mantamar during Gay Pride. But before you jump to conclusions, kindly keep in mind something very important. Monkeypox is not a disease that is associated with the gay community exclusively. Monkeypox is out there for all of us to catch if we are not careful. But again, do we need to be worrying too much about monkeypox? I personally don't think so, but there seems to be an increasing concern in the tourism sector about the possible ramifications of the news about monkeypox in Puerto Vallarta as they travel through Mexico and the rest of the world. As much as we've indicated that monkeypox is no reason to panic, people do have a tendency to jump the gun. As of right now, according to Luis Villaseñor of Puerto Vallarta's Tourism Bureau, there is no current strategy in place to counteract these concerns, as it has not been brought up specifically by any of the Tourism Bureau's partners. And by partners, I suppose they mean hotels and airlines and so forth and so on. So as I mentioned just a second ago, I am choosing not to worry about this presently, although I do hear grumblings here and there of concerned tourists that are thinking, should I go or should I not go? Again, let us try to base our concerns or support our concerns on facts. And by facts, I mean things that we read in authorized, or not authorized, but reputable news sources, and not what we read on social media. Moving right along, although we've said that there were no damages caused by last week's rainstorm, there are always damages somewhere. We now know that there were some fallen trees here and there, and loss of power for several hours in parts of the city, and a landslide in Paso Ancho. A friend of mine, Claude, who watches regularly, shared a video with me of the temporary vehicle crossing along the Rio Quale in order to reach Paso Ancho, and there is water covering it. So apparently there is not enough water to prevent vehicles from crossing at present time, but this is likely to change soon, as if it keeps raining hard more frequently. And we got some nice rain last night, although it was not nearly as strong as the rain that we had last week. We do have a report from the Department of Public Works on the Rain Canal presently being built at Las Juntas. This is the project that has caused delays along Highway 200 heading north into Nayarit. The good news is that work is advancing as scheduled, and the not so good news is that the project is only at 45% completion at this time, and hopefully it will be completed in time to be put to good use before rainfall begins to increase. Now, let's turn over to the news and some more fun. Let's turn over to the weather and some more fun news on the second half of the broadcast. What do we got? We have this nice weather is getting out of hand, says Snarky Weatherman. It's been nice, but it has been hot and humid, but that's the way it always gets. Our current temperature is 25 degrees, feels like 28. Humidity is at 94%. That's no surprise. And our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees is 77 degrees. Our weather forecast for today: possible light rain in the morning with a high of 31 and a low of 24. Tomorrow, rain overnight with a high of 31 and a low of 24. And Wednesday, again, rain until morning, starting again in the evening with a high of 31 and a low of 24. How about some good news? I have some good news, or at least I think they are fun news. What do we have? Well, a new sculpture has been donated to adorn our city, and it will be very likely installed along the Malecón. This is El Pescador, or The Fisherman, by the late Gloria Ellis, a Canadian sculptor and one of the first international artists to settle in Puerto Vallarta, where she raised her family and unfortunately died in 2012. And now her descendants, her daughter, is fulfilling her wish to donate one of her works to the city. The piece has already been cast and has a height of 240 centimeters. That's 2 meters and 4 centimeters, 40 centimeters. So it's taller than life. And in case you want a clearer view of the sculpture, I turned over to Galeria Dante's website, as I happen to know that Galeria Dante represents the works of the late sculptor. And there it is. Isn't that beautiful? This is a small reproduction of which a limited edition of 30 pieces was created, and it is, I think, it must still be available for sale at Galeria Dante, and hopefully the large piece will find a home in the Malecón sometime in the near future. Another bit of good news is that back in April, an initiative was brought to Puerto Vallarta City Council to institute July 28 as Los Arcos de Mismaloya Day. The initiative was passed 3 days ago, And so now, every July 28th, we will celebrate Los Arcos de Mismaloya Day. This is a first step for the landmark to be declared a national marine park, which would guarantee its protection and preservation forever. Not only is Los Arcos a popular tourism destination, it is also home to a large variety of flora and fauna. And if you haven't had the chance to visit it up close, there are snorkel, scuba, and paddleboarding opportunities to be pursued. Or if you are simply heading south on a water taxi, both captains frequently pass close to it for your enjoyment. And if not, you can always just ask the captain of the boat you're traveling on if he or she would be willing to see it or to do a small detour so that you can see it up close. It is truly magnificent. Lastly, sooner or later, someone's got to cook, and Mexico's Profeco, or Federal Consumer Protection Agency, has published their findings on the best and worst cookware you can purchase in Mexico. I remember living in the United States and paying a lot of attention to Consumer Reports, the nonprofit consumer organization dedicated to independent product testing. And Profeco in Mexico fulfills the similar functions or functions in a similar fashion. So I appreciate these tidbits, and I will be including this link to the show with the show notes for today. So with that said, let me turn over to your lovely comments just to see what everybody is up to this morning. Let's see. We see good morning from here, there, and everywhere, and I love that. John says Logan is in town. Indeed, Logan is on vacation. He is enjoying himself at Disneyland and then going to Hawaii to visit with his parents. Let's see what else we have. Boom, 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 boom. I see Luna's other mother is in the house. Hello, cousin. ¿Cómo estás, Norma? Good to see you. Let's see. Pum, 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 pam, 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 pam. How interesting that I started today delayed. Fascinating. No more COVID testing to return to USA. I heard. I hope that the airport didn't get too crazy. Let's see what else. Oh, the poll. Let's take a quick look at the poll results since we did it. Let's see. Polls. Da, 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 da. Let me see if I can get to the poll very quickly. Good. So according to this, 77% of you think that it is not important to be able to rewind. So with your permission, we will not be setting the rewind button every single day we broadcast. Thank you very much for the clarity. Let's see what else we have. You look as warm as I'm feeling in Florida. Well, Ramona, let me tell you that this morning, my body decided I was going to have a 5 a.m. morning. And to me, that means that I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I might as well get up and have an early start, which was fine because I had a very restful weekend. I don't know what you guys were up to this weekend, but this weekend, well, I went to a double birthday shindig on Saturday, but Sunday was a day for three things. I crocheted. I advanced in my project to watch all the Marvel Universe movies before the summer is over, and I studied for something that is really important to me, which is my second brain. So I got up very early this morning, and now it is clear to me that I will deserve and will pursue a nice siesta sometime this afternoon. Anyhow, let's see. COVID isn't over. I've never known more people with COVID than at present time. Isn't that funny? Well, it's not funny, but it is interesting because I am also learning of a lot of people in my circle that either have COVID or are hearing of people that have COVID. So kindly be careful out there and take good care of yourselves and your loved ones. I'm happy that Ramon is letting us know that Ramon was in Guadalajara for the weekend. That is great. I am so happy to hear that you had a good time. Do, 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 do. Let's see. Oh, there's a cue here. Is that a pic above like a rash for monkeypox? Paco. Patty, if you mean the photograph I showed when I was showing you a headline, that was the photograph that came along with the headline. So it is very likely, although not necessarily true, that whoever wrote that article went through the process of finding an actual image of monkeypox um, scars. But I cannot tell you for certain that that was the case because I didn't write the article. That's what came with it. Angelica has another cue. Let's see. If you were vaccinated for chickenpox when you were little, can you get monkeypox? What a great question. I couldn't tell you, but that is a very good question. I'm sure there must be an answer for that on the internet. Let's see what else. Oh, Claude, who shared that video that I told you about, is now clarifying that the temporary road, the one that went along the Rio Cuale, has been closed, and now the lane at the top has opened in one direction. So it's good to hear that Paso Ancho and beyond are not completely isolated, but hopefully our city will be able to conclude that work sooner rather than later. Uh, that's conversation among yourselves. Claude comments on the new sculpture. Again, I think it's a beautiful addition, and I hope they put it somewhere in the Malecón, or if not, in a place where it really gets a good shining spot. And if you are intrigued about the artist, I'm sure that having a conversation with Claire at Galeria Dante would shed a lot of interesting information about the late artist. Lona says, I've paddled through Los Arcos, and so have I. It's a wonderful experience. Um, do, 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 do. Love a kitchen gadget review. I love a kitchen gadget review too because I'm a kitchen gadget junkie at heart, which is why when I went to Guadalajara, it was important for me to go to church. And by church, I mean to visit Bed Bath and Beyond. I didn't buy anything, but I sure enjoyed sauntering through the aisles. Let's see. I think we are at the end of our comments. Yes, fantastic. Well, I hope this was a good start of the week. You know, it is sobering to know that we have to continue to take care of ourselves due to COVID, but, you know, it is what we have to do. So, as always, I'm going to encourage you to continue taking good care of yourselves, that you stay kind, that you stay connected, and that you stay in touch. May your clothes be comfy, may your coffee be strong, and your Monday be short. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again tomorrow.